Jim Norton Show starts now.
Ah, yes. The telltale music of the Jim Norton radio extravaganza. Thank you guys for sticking here to listen to our show. Hold on. Someone give David Lee Roth this book. He didn't mean to leave it. He left Doc Gooden's book here. And Doc signed it to him personally. So make sure that he gets this, please, E-Rock. Run out and hand that to him. We had a great Opie and Anthony show with David Lee Roth was here, and the great Jay Moore. And Dwight Gooden came in and talked about his, I don't know why I'm recapping. It was fucking 10 seconds ago. But I wish we had more time with Gooden, because I meant what I said to him. You know, of all the athletes, I found him to be the best because he was completely open about his addiction and what it did. And, you know, I love a guy who just talks like that, honestly. He didn't bullshit. He didn't try to, well, guys, I don't know. He didn't put on other people. So what a tremendous interview he was. And I wish we had an hour with him, and really, really fantastic. So we're very happy he came in. And, you know, because people have been saying to me a lot, they're like, you know, hey, Jim, what's the best, you know, gift to give a woman in your life? You know, people talking about drug addiction, like, should you give her drugs? I said, no. The best gift for any occasion, or no occasion at all, it's an I love you gift. And what's an I love you gift? Well, if you're dating me, an I love you gift is I break up with you. Why? Because I'm a dog shit boyfriend. It's a gift that says without words how much she truly means to you. It shows how much you love her, appreciate her, and value her. And it's something she can keep forever and look at every day to remind her how much you love her. A beautiful piece of diamond jewelry that will last forever and show her exactly how special she is to you. Who has this? Not me. Not Doc Gooden, not Opie and Anthony, not David Lee Roth. Steven Singer. He has the perfect I love you gifts for the women or woman in your life. Go to IHateStevenSinger.com. Steven Singer has made finding the perfect gift very simple, because we all suck at this. When someone says to me, hey, Jim, are you a good gift buyer? I say, no, I suck a bag of dicks at buying gifts. And they say, well, why don't you go to IHateStevenSinger.com? And I say, because I'm fucking dumb. That's why I don't go there. You go online to his website. He's got free and fast shipping. It's available to all listeners. Not some listeners, not just thin, in-shape listeners, but a lot of you fatzos, too. With Steven's easy return policy and great guarantee, it's risk-free shopping. Steven Singer Jewelers has the best selection of diamond jewelry, best guarantees and warranties, and amazing service. We really mean this. We love this guy. So make sure for that next occasion you get her the perfect I love you gift from Steven Singer Jewelers. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, or on the phone 1-888-I-HATE-STEVEN-SINGER, or of course IHateStevenSinger.com. I have two reads, so I wanted to do one. Let's say, Teddy in Pittsburgh, his cousin's wife is the C word. Would that be cunt?
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, buddy.
Hi, buddy.
Hold on, I can't hear you. Okay, there you are.
You can't hear me?
Now I can. What's the matter?
Okay. All right. Well, my cousin is like a brother to me. We grew up together. Got married about 8 years ago to this woman who worked for him. He is a doctor. Ever since I got married, she's kind of been a cunt.
Okay.
But whatever, you know, she is what she is. So about 2 years ago, she started filling out prescriptions in his name, sending them to all members of her family, going to different pharmacies and filling them, and wound up getting fired for it.
Okay.
Just recently, my cousin had to sit in front of a board because he may get fired because he left his pad out, you know what I mean?
Right.
So just 2 days ago, I'm in to visit. It's been 5 weeks. She's been sober from pills. So she's drinking while I'm there. They get into this huge fight. She throws cheesecake at his face. He winds up knocking the couch over and like punching her, basically.
Okay.
She bites him. She bites him on his hand. Neither one of them, and they both wake up in the morning like nothing happened.
Well, what is your question? They're obviously in a
My
dysfunctional
question is,
marriage.
Do I go to the cops? What do I
No.
do? I mean,
I can't say no. Mate, hold on. I don't know. Go to the cops? About what?
I don't know, dude. I love him to death, and I hate seeing him like this. I mean, they're both saying to each other, I fucking hate you. I wish you were dead. You know, I wish I never met you. The most horrible things you can
Well,
imagine.
have you talked to him? Let me ask you. Going to the cops, I don't know, because the cops aren't going to do anything because they won't press charges on each other. So have you actually spoken to him about it and said, look, what's going on with this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and whatever his...
His response, Jim, is maybe it's the doctor in me that wants to help her. She's been sick. She had pain, which is why she's on the pain medication, but then she started to abuse it.
Well, dude, look, he's obviously codependent with her. Now, if it's a woman being beaten, or even a man, if it's spousal abuse that's happening, then you might want to alert somebody. But from what it sounds like, they just have a shitty marriage. I don't know what the cops can do about it. And I think that sometimes you just have to let people make disasters out of their life. I mean, if you've talked to him, they're not going to press charges on each other. I just don't know if there's anything that you can do.
Is there any? What would you say to him?
I would be honest. Be honest about how you feel. That's all you can do, is to go to him and go, look, I'm concerned because it looks like you guys have some abuse. You don't look happy, but you've obviously talked to him, and his codependence is, I'm a doctor, I want to fix her. So what can you do? You can't, and again, there's a big difference between this and somebody who's in a relationship where they're being abused. If that's happening, then I say go to the police. But it just sounds like they just have a very dysfunctional, unhappy marriage. If you've spoken your mind and you've made your opinion known, I don't know if there's anything else you can do other than, because then they're just going to hate you and just separate from you anyway.
Right.
Personally, I let people live their lives. I don't know what else I can do for people. You can only talk to them. You can't make them do what you want them to do.
True.
All right, brother?
All right, brother. I love you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your call. Glenn in D.C. has a really clingy and dependent girlfriend.
Hey, what's up, Jim?
Hi, Glenn.
So, I've been dating this girl for about a year and a half, and get along great, and I really do, love her, and we have a good relationship. The only, the big issue is, I'm in grad school full time, and I bartend a few nights a week. So I have a very busy schedule. She's got a regular 9-to-5 job. And the problem is she doesn't really have any friends down here, and, not much of a social life. So when I'm busy doing what I'm doing, from what I gather, basically she's just sitting at home doing nothing, being lonely, and kind of, texting me a lot, wishing I was there. And so, sometimes when I have a night off or I have free time, I don't necessarily want to spend it with her. But we don't live together.
Right. You want to have your own life and independent friends and all that stuff.
Exactly right. And, as is understandable, I mean, It's been a year and a half, she kind of is pushing the moving in together thing, and especially in a city where it's expensive to live on your own, it does make sense financially. But it's kind of coming to the point where, it's you either have to go all in or fold. And, I don't know how to tell somebody, in their late 20s how to make friends and how to develop their own social life.
Well, let me ask you, and again, sorry to interrupt you, because I kind of know where you're going. Like, have you said to her, hey, I feel like this is because what happens with codependency is one person, or both people fall into it, where one person becomes the other person's world totally. And then it's really unhealthy because every time you don't spend your free time with them, they're like, what's wrong? What are you doing? And then the person who's become that world feels this fucking unbearable pressure to be everything to the other person. It's just too much, and it's not healthy. You should both have your own friends and your own lives and your own activities. And then you have a great life together. Like, you never want to feel in a relationship like, hey, I'm spending time with you right now because there's nothing else for us to do. So you want it to be because you both want to be together in that moment. So have you talked to her and said, look, this is too much?
I've tried to, and I think she gets defensive. And I mean, look, it's not. I'm sure it's got to be, unpleasant to admit or realize that you don't really have much of a social life, or you don't have much going on. So I don't know. It's, I feel like an asshole sometimes because I tell her, like, I don't want to spend time, and what do I end up doing? I end up doing nothing, but I love it because it's my time.
Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and then that's what happens too in these codependent things, is that we start to feel guilty when we take time for ourselves, or like we're doing something wrong because the other person puts a guilt trip or sulks, or that silent scorn they talk about. I don't think you're doing, from what you're telling me, it doesn't sound like you're doing anything wrong by taking free time. And if you move in together, do you think this is going to get any better, or it's just going to become more claustrophobic and smothering?
It's going to become smothering. I mean, it's the kind of thing where I think I would feel trapped, and I think that, unfortunately, knowing myself, that would also make me, act out and maybe even look to, do some bad things.
Well, if you're feeling that way, then I would suggest definitely not moving in. Give it some time. Talk to her, though. Maybe she'll say, okay, I've been a little codependent. But if she hasn't and she's not going to change, then why live with someone who's going to smother you completely? Because that's not love. Yeah. That's like living with a fucking blanket on you all the time. And she's not going to be happy either. So my suggestion, again, a lot of times I say the suggestion is to talk to somebody, because a lot of people don't talk things out. And sometimes when you say to somebody, like, look, I want a little bit of space, as long as they know that you love them and you're not trying to get away from them. Like, some people will interpret that as, I want to be away from you. And that's not the case. It's like, hey, I want us to breathe a little bit so we last longer.
Exactly. Hey, one quick question on that, and I'll hang up and listen.
Okay.
But could you explain? You've used this term a few times on this show, and it always kind of resonated with me, but I don't really understand exactly what you're talking about. But life on life's terms, I just wondered if you could talk a little bit more about that.
Okay. My understanding of life on life's terms is that, like, a lot of times people, especially when we're active, and Doug in Boston, I'm going to get to you in just a second, and this kind of ties into what Doug wants to talk about as well, is dealing with life as it comes. Like, I obsess over circumstances outside myself. Like, oh, I'm unhappy because I don't have this in my career, or I'm unhappy because my friend is sick, or I'm behaving in an unhealthy fashion because of this. And you can live a happy life and a very productive and successful life just dealing with life as it comes. Meaning, don't try to control everything that happens, and don't try to base your happiness on everything around you, because bad shit's going to happen. Unhealthy stuff is going to happen. So try to live a healthy, productive life in spite of the stuff around you that is inevitably going to go on. So now Doug sat in the park yesterday with a gun, questions about recovery programs. Hi, Doug in Boston. Thanks for calling.
Hey, no problem, Jimmy.
So now you sat in the park with a gun. What do you mean? I mean, I know what you mean, but explain that.
Yeah, it's I'm like everybody else who's in recovery or trying to get into recovery. I'm one of those people who have addictive personalities and has had them forever.
Yeah.
Cocaine, sexual addiction,
sure.
Alcohol, dope, whatever, everything, and for the last couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, where I've kind of had this thing where I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I'm tired. I have admitted mistakes in the past. I've fucked up, and I'm tired of saying, I did it again.
Well, let me ask you, Doug, are you sober now, or are you really struggling to try to get sober?
I don't even know if I'm struggling to try and get sober. I'm not sober now.
Okay. Well, let me suggest, and again, we'll just to cut you off for 1 second. You're talking about all this pain, and I'm ready to give up, and I can't see. That's where we are before we get sober. Like, in a weird way, you're hitting bottom. That's a good thing. Like, most people don't want to get sober when things are going great. It's when we feel like they say we're at the jumping off place and we wish for the end. Well, that's a lot of times the catalyst to an amazing life on the other side. But you have to make the effort to do it. The fact that you sat with the gun and you didn't blow your brains out, and that you're calling the show, means that there's a part of you understands that right now you're at this jumping off place. But there is, if you do the right thing, and I'm telling you this, an amazing life. You do not have to jump, and you shouldn't jump.
I don't I don't believe it, Jimmy. I really don't.
I know, and I understand the not believing it too, because I didn't believe it either, dude. I can only. Sometimes I wish I could take people who are suffering like you are right now and put you where I am. And I know I bitch and I moan, but my life is fucking great. And it's all great because I did things that other people suggested I do, even though I didn't necessarily believe it was going to work out as well as they told me it would. You know, sometimes you just got to believe that they believe it. Like all these other people telling you, look, there's a great life waiting for you if you just put down the stuff that's hurting you and start on a recovery path. Like, look where you are right now. This is where your best thinking got you. Sitting in a park with a fucking pistol. So realize that at this moment, you can't trust your own thinking. Your own thinking right now stinks. It will improve, but right now it's not good. So listen to other people who have been through that kind of suffering and found a way through it. Like, I have no motive to lie to you.
No, I hear you, and it makes sense to me. The problem I have is that I've been down this road before, okay?
Sure.
Where I have, I have fucked up, lost my job.
Sure.
Fooled around with my wife when she was pregnant, and the last thing I want to do again is to say, here I am again. I have a real problem with saying, just living with the fact that I cannot seem to get my shit together.
Yeah, it's a lot of times, dude, there are people who struggle for a long time before they get it. There's people who come in and out, they get sober, they relapse, they get sober, they relapse. They say insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Well, alcoholics, addicts, gamblers, compulsive eaters, we understand insanity better than everybody because that's our pattern. It's a pattern. Nobody just all of a sudden does something once and realizes, oh boy, I'm fucked up. We get into these crazy patterns. Some people it's going to prison. For me, it was cutting myself with a razor or whatever it was. For you, it's starting to get sober, then relapsing. For all of us, it's different things. So just realize that what you want to do is break the pattern. So you can break the pattern. But if you have to be willing to surrender. And how much more do you need? Like, the fight's over, Doug. It won. Surrender. The addiction is undefeated. It beats all of us. So
Jimmy,
it's beaten you.
Jimmy, I'm 51 years old.
Okay.
Okay. So I just kind of feel like I'm done. I can't start my life over at 51. I don't feel like that's an option for me.
But of course it's an option. Back in the old days when people got sober, they got sober a lot older. There's a lot of people who could come in and get, like Rodney Dangerfield. He did stand up, and then I think his name was Jack Roy, and then he quit for years, went into aluminum siding, and then came back and become famous when he was probably in his late 40s, early 50s. Like, the way your life is going to work out, we don't know, but you're 51. You're not dead. People live to be 80, 90 years old these days with fucking medicine and technology. You could have fucking 40 years left. You could have 40 years. Like, who's to say that you don't have to go back to your childhood, but you can stop being fucking crazy right now, and whatever time you have left, you can live productive and happy. Don't give yourself an excuse to...
What about the fact that I have 2 young children and, a wife that I'm not crazy about?
Okay.
Whatever. It is what it is. But now I have to come out and I have to say, hey, listen, this is where I'm at. Been down this road before, and they know I have.
Okay.
Lost my job. Now we're back again to where we were.
How old are your kids?
12 and 14.
So think of them. You're saying I'm 51, I'm this. Think of both of your kids graduating high school or college or getting married and having a fucking empty seat there because you were too embarrassed to tell people I'm here again and decided to shoot yourself in a park. Think of the self-centeredness of that. What that will do to them, or as opposed.
I do.
Okay,
I do. I hear it. Hey, dude, trust me. I have struggled with this for a while.
Then Doug, I'm not shitting on you. I'm not arguing with you.
Hey, listen.
I know you know it, but you got to really know it. And the only way to really know it is to do it. Like, so don't tell people I'm here again. Don't say it. Just either go to a rehab or start going to a 12-step program or start doing.
All right. Well, see, here's the other problem, okay? Both of my parents died in the last 4 years, all right?
Okay.
And they were raging alcoholics.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, my mom actually put together probably 30 years of sobriety, and she lived and breathed the program. And I swear to God, you and I have had this discussion before. The whole thing about all of the catchphrases, and it just used to drive me fucking crazy, and it still does.
Well, my father has been sober since I was 2, so I understand the catchphrases, and a lot of times we associate getting clean and sober with a parent or whatever it is. But again, look at the option. Like, the option is you are sitting in a park with a pistol. Now, I know the slogans, yeah, sometimes they're a little irritating. Oh, God, that's cliche. But what's the better option? To see your kids graduate from high school and college and get married and have coffee and hear a couple of shitty slogans, or to fucking shoot yourself in a park? Like, realize that this is that place they talk about. You know what you have to do. You can get better. You can lead a very, very productive life and make yourself proud and make your family proud. And I know the temptation is to feel sorry for ourselves and, oh, God, I've blown it. Life is over. But this is where you are right now. Accept where you are and begin moving forward. Stop complaining about it. Just go, fuck it. I lived through this experience so far. You're not dead. You didn't fucking overdose. You didn't drink yourself to death. You didn't drive into a pole and get killed. So far, you've survived it. So my suggestion would be to, again, you know what the right thing to do is. You already know it. So I would suggest acting on the right thing and just begin doing the right thing. Don't tell people. Don't need to make a fucking speech about it. Just begin doing it. Your life will get better. I promise you.
Last thing. I know you got other guys.
Okay, no, I know.
But the last thing I want to say is that, Jimmy, all of the stuff you're saying, I have lived every day. I wake up in the morning, and I process it. I know how it goes. I've been around addiction. I actually have been through 90 days, 90 meetings. You know, I had cocaine addiction. I had everything else. But what happens is that I have to get this thought in my head where it's like, you know what? I need to hit the reset switch. And I think my kids and my family are going to be better if I'm not around.
I know the irrational thinking. And I know that you know all this stuff, but somebody once told me knowledge is no defense against the first drink. What I know doesn't mean anything. It's what I do. And I really mean, I know that sounds so trite and cliche, but the reason I have a productive life and I feel like I've achieved a lot by being clean and sober is because I did, and I have to let you go, Doug, because we do have other people, but I really, I do care about you getting better, and I really mean that, man. Knowing something doesn't make it so. It's a nice step, but I have to act right. I have to do the right thing. So, Doug, honestly, you know what the right thing is. Stop listening to yourself. Start listening to other people, man, because you don't want to fucking shoot yourself in a park. Your kid's 14 and 12 and they got to live with that. It's fucking terrible. They would not be better off without you. All right. Sorry about, I don't mean to keep belaboring. Am I saying that right? To keep repeating the same point, but good luck to you, Doug, and don't give up. Yes. Jeff in New Hampshire, how to deal with his 5-year-old who told a girl that girls like to sit on boys. I'm a little, yes, Jeff?
How you doing, Jimmy?
Yay. How are you, buddy?
Well, I'm all right. My wife is, freaking out. But a couple of months ago, my wife had the kids come upstairs they woke up and went down to the basement and started watching TV. And my son, who's 5, comes upstairs and says, "Mommy, I'm done watching the show where the boys put their pee-pees in the girls' vaginas." So my wife went downstairs, and the kids had bought pay-per-view on the Dish Network. We didn't know they knew how to get there.
Okay.
And bought some hardcore porn. Well, last week, I guess my son at daycare was with a girl underneath the picnic table. We know all about that.
Yeah.
And told the girl that girls like to sit on boys' pee-pees. And now the daycare provider, the owner of the company, told my wife yesterday that the girl went home and started asking her mom and dad questions. So now my wife wants to do all this safe play date crap, psychologist, all this shit. What do you suggest?
Well, again, without having children and having had that experience, I can just speculate. But I think when you watch, obviously, what he saw in pornography, and I don't know how much good it does to sit down and talk to him, but I certainly would suggest talking to him and asking him why he did that. And maybe you could just tell him that that's not the right way to be. Because I know a lot of that's normal shit, too. Like, a lot of, boys and girls explore. I know I did when I was a kid, but look how I turned out. I'm certainly not an exemplary fucking example of sexual and emotional health. So you might want to nip it in the bud and talk to him. And I don't know how much psychology would help, but some safe play dates might help to show him the proper way to interact with kids his own age. Because you don't want him going down a really sexual road that early, obviously.
I think the biggest problem is it's not my son, because, we know we all did that shit when we were kids. Drawing the Playboys, doing the I'll show you mine, you show me yours kind of crap. But my wife was molested by her cousin when she was younger, so she's the one that I'm more concerned with dealing with, because she is just freaking out.
Are you afraid she might be overreacting?
I know she's overreacting, but you can't tell her that because she's had that experience. And how do you tell somebody that has had that happen to them that they're overreacting without
sounding callous? Yeah. It's tough. That's a very tough call. Again, dude, I don't have kids. With kid questions, I take a stab at it, but I never want to come off like I have. To me, most of the advice I give, that I try to give, is experiential. I can only kind of really talk to what I know. But with kids, my suggestion would be talk to other parents about it, because I don't want to give the wrong advice when it comes to children and sexual shit. I would always suggest talking to a kid first, but maybe she's right. Maybe a structured play date would help.
Perfect.
All right.
Jimmy.
Thank you, buddy. And sorry I didn't have better suggestions for you. I can't pretend I know something I don't. David in New York, fiance of 7 years left.
Yeah, she just left after 7 years, about 6 weeks ago. No word, just stopped taking my phone calls, acted like a real bitch. But I can't get over it. Today would be our anniversary, 7 years.
Wow. And how long ago this happened?
About 6 weeks ago. 6 months ago, my dad died. I'm reeling, man.
Wow. And now, were there indications that there were problems with her?
Maybe a little bit. We never really sat down and talked. I know we both wanted to get a place together. Money was always an issue. We both wanted to get married, and she got a new job where she's making a lot of money, but she refused to sit down and talk to me.
So she wanted out for whatever reason?
I guess, yeah.
What were the indicators that there were problems?
Just that she would talk to me and say, we really got to find a way to get a place together. It's not going to work if we keep going this way. And, I agreed with that, but I went back to school to get certified to become a teacher, and I just did that. And I don't know. I just don't know how she could just stop talking to me.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. There's obviously was something wrong. Maybe she's just shitty at dealing with things or shitty at talking things out. I think that's kind of rotten after all those years. The only thing you can say is, hey, man, as painful as it is, at least you weren't married where you'd have legal proceedings. Like, as terrible as that is, maybe she saved you more heartache than you'll ever realize she saved you. Because if she's going to allow, after all that time, you just to be swinging in the fucking breeze and not give you a real explanation or closure, there's something very shitty about her to do that.
There really is, right?
Yeah, that's cold, and it's kind of inexcusable. Were you cheating on her? And again, I don't know who you are. Were you cheating?
No, I wasn't. She did. I had looked at some MySpace pages. I hadn't talked to anybody or anything.
Right, sure.
And she had found them on my computer, and then one day she logged into my MySpace account and found a letter that I had written to an ex-girlfriend saying, I had a dream about you, but this was 2 years later, and I ended saying, maybe we could have been good, but I'm real happy with what I have now. But that was years ago.
I don't know, buddy. You did try to talk to her. How many times have you reached out?
Well, at first I went crazy and I, did the whole texting her constantly.
Sure.
Please just talk to me. And now what I did was I gave it 3 weeks. Today would be 7 years. And I sent her an apology email for, because after a few days I said some kind of nasty things to her. And
Sure.
I apologized for it, and I said, I know we're moving on, but can we please just talk and kind of leave things on better terms? And I mean, maybe she'll answer today, but I don't think so.
Well, if she hasn't answered, then that is her answer. As much as it sucks and it's a lousy way to end it, if she's ended it like that, you have to move on. And maybe the closure you're looking for won't come. Sometimes, we obsess over things because we want that final moment. I guess because, television and movies teaches us that there is a moment at the end where you go, and that's all it was. Door closed, roll credits. But a lot of times that's not the way real life works out. A lot of times we don't get the closure we seek. We don't get the final word or the final comment or that final moment. And, it's painful, but you might just have to accept that closure or that explanation is not going to come, and that it was just something really fucked up in her that made her not able to communicate with you.
Yeah. Can I ask you one more thing?
Sure.
I could really get her in a bad spot. I have some really bad pictures.
Nah, don't do that, man. In all honesty, I have so many naked pictures of girls I've dated, and there's nothing they've ever done that would cause me to betray that. Honestly, no matter how bad it was or how angry we've gotten, you don't want to do that. There's just something really karma. Yeah, I know. And I know you're angry and I know it hurts, but for your own sake. Like Opie gave the wallet back to that guy yesterday, and the guy was a scumbag. But I said to Opie, you know what, dude, you were right to give it back, because it was about him giving it back, not about that piece of shit's reaction. Same thing here. So what? She's shitty. Fuck her. But there's no reason for you to all of a sudden become an untrustworthy shitbag.
Yeah. Should I just try and get somebody new?
Of course you should. And you will, dude. You will.
Mm.
All right?
Thanks, Jimmy. I love your stand-up, man. It gets me through a lot of bad times.
Thank you, Dave, and good luck to you, buddy. I'm sorry to hear that happened to you.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, brother. Matt in Iowa. Hi, your grandfather went through the same stuff as the guy in the park, and he ended up what?
He ended up, he struggled with alcohol his whole life and probably some drugs and stuff. And him and my old man, they weren't the closest either. But once me, my cousin, my brother, my other cousin were born, he dropped all the alcohol, didn't touch it ever again.
Oh, good.
And he was the greatest, he was the greatest grandfather a guy could have asked for. And he passed away when I was about 10 years old, just from complications of stroke and stuff.
Okay.
But up for those 10 years, he didn't touch it. As soon as my cousin was born, he's a year older than me. I'm 30. He's 31. He just dropped it all.
That's great.
He became sober. He saw the light at the end of the tunnel. So the guy in the park, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Whether he's close to his kids or not, but once he sees his grandkids or something like that, things may change.
There's a lot more life. Thank you very much for the call, and I think you're absolutely right. Thank you, buddy, so much for calling, and I think you're right. There's a lot more life to be had for our 51-year-old friend from Boston who called. So do not give up. That's what this guy's calling to tell you. I'm telling you, and this other stranger is telling you, don't give up. Now somebody has Sandy. Is Sandy on the phone? Because she has a response to the guy. Or is she gone?
No, I think that call's gone. Yeah.
Why? Did we hang up on?
No, I think she hung up a while ago. It just didn't refresh the message over there.
Okay. Oh boy. Well, Jim in Long Island, that's not as bad as I thought. Having an affair with my son's teacher. Yes, Jim?
Hey, man, there's a lot of backstory to this. I'll just try to give you the quick part of it. Knocked my girl up. She was married to somebody else. Knocked her up, had a kid. Knocked her up again, had a kid, got married because I thought it was just the right thing to do. I think I'm a sex addict, but I don't know.
Are you married still? I'm sorry, you are married?
Yeah, I'm married less than a year.
And already having an affair, okay.
And I was fucking somebody also when we were engaged, but just at work, random shit.
So you've been dishonest with this girl quite a few times?
Without a doubt.
Okay.
So I met his teacher smoking. She is a freak, which is kind of, I dig it.
Yeah.
dildos, butt plugs, nipple clamps, shit I've never even seen before.
Oh, she's a good egg. Fuck.
Like all these different toys and shit that I never fucking even know they existed. Like, she wants me to do all this shit from 50 Shades of Grey to her. She loves, you know, she says she loves me, and I just don't know. I just don't know if I can go through a whole divorce. I got 2 sons that I fucking love.
Is she married, this girl?
No, she's single, and she was engaged. She had a heroin thing. She's very unstable.
So you know that what you're doing with her, going through a divorce right now for this disaster, and I'm not judging, believe me, I understand the desire to fuck her, because I'm a weak man, too. So I would probably be right there.
Can you just take her?
I certainly can. I mean, she's a fucking mess. She likes things in her ass. She's right up my alley. But, and believe me, I understand that temptation. It's really fucking hard. But sometimes women who are the greatest fucks are the craziest. And the reason, somebody told me this once, it made perfect sense, is because their inhibitions are lowered. So the same thing that makes them amazing, fun fucks makes them very, very difficult in other areas. And this is not in all cases, but if she's on heroin and you're saying she's a mess, do you
not anymore. Not anymore. That was a while back.
Oh, okay. Do you love the girl that you're married to?
No way.
But you married her for what reason?
2 kids.
Okay, 2 kids. So you're in an unhappy marriage. You've cheated on this girl, and you're probably going to continue cheating on her.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't a divorce less painful? I know financially it's a nightmare. I know it's a bitch to go through. But in the end, isn't it easier just to bite the bullet, separate, you know where you are, and then you can go out and fuck who you want and meet somebody who makes you happy, and so can your wife?
I just can't see myself. Well, first of all, I don't want anybody else raising my kids.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Second of all, I just can't see myself going through that whole process. Like, because she was married before, and it was such a big deal for her family to accept me. I just can't picture I can't picture going through all that shit again.
Yeah, but I can tell you this. If you keep having the affair, you are going to eventually have to go through the divorce anyway, because someone's going to find out. Very rarely do these things go on, especially in 2013. There's texting, there's Facebook, everything is savable. Something will happen where you will probably get caught and end up in a disastrous, painful divorce where there are things that are exposed that you don't want exposed, that are humiliating. So, yes.
If I do cut her off and shut it down with the affair, do I ever tell my wife?
No, why would you tell her? No. As it says in one of the...
The sad thing is, I don't have any fucking guilt, dude. And the other reason we can't get divorced is because we're in a profession where me and her are at the forefront of a lot of things. It's kind of... It's a profession that it wouldn't be seen as a good thing to get divorced.
Well, again, what other people, and I understand that, and maybe it's a job I can't comprehend, but what other people think is irrelevant. You're personally not happy with each other, obviously, and you're fucking a woman behind your wife's back. And again, I don't judge you for that, because I'm a weak man too. But don't worry about what other people think. Can't stay married to someone because of what other people think. That seems like a horrible way to live. Because if they imagine what these people are going to think if you get caught with a butt plug. The fucking social studies teacher fingering your rectum, and there's photos and texts, and all your private thoughts come out. I mean, that would be embarrassing for me, and I'm a pervert that everybody knows. Imagine you, a married father of 2, in a job where you're scared of getting divorced.
How did you know I was a social studies teacher?
Are you? I was saying the woman.
Oh, she's like a daycare.
Oh, I was actually joking about the woman being a social studies teacher. Are you really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were a teacher. That was actually a complete, you just fessed up and you didn't have to.
My wife works in the building.
Oh, in what building?
With me.
Oh, I think you meant a serious building. Okay, yeah, I understand that. But again, I was joking that the wife was, the other teacher was. But,
can you take this girl's info and just take her from me?
No,
like,
dude.
If I want it to be anybody, I want it to be you.
You're a good man. I gotta let you go. Have her email me at therealjimnorton@gmail.com and tell her to say, hey, it's the good egg teacher. All right, my friend?
You got it, Jim. Thank you.
Good luck. Who's here stuck in, when I go to bed, I don't want to wake up in the morning. That's Jim from the Opie and Anthony Show calling in. Yes, sir. Who are you?
Good morning.
Hi, buddy.
How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm okay. So you're obviously suffering from depression.
Pretty much major depression.
And why are you suffering from it?
Many things have happened in my life.
Okay.
It's been a nonstop roller coaster ride for 40-something years.
Do you drink and do drugs? Are you a compulsive gambler? Or
None of those. I take medication, but for various reasons.
I don't know enough about medication. Is it legit, or are you addicted to it? When you honestly analyze it.
I'm honestly telling you that it's legit.
Okay.
They're all prescribed and they're not overtaken.
Okay. So what is now, do you take anything for your depression, or what do you do to help combat your depression?
Well, they're talking about putting me on Prozac, so supposedly it's going to help me. But honestly, the only reason I care to wake up in the morning is to listen to the show. And honestly, other than that, I have nothing else. I mean, I'm 40-something years old, never been married, don't have any kids, so I have nothing but my family who obviously does not want to have anything to do with me.
Why don't they want to have anything to do with you?
For various reasons. That's their problem. I don't know. Honestly, I've never gotten into it with them.
You've never asked them why they don't want anything to do with you?
Yeah.
You have no girlfriend. So you sound very lonely.
Definitely.
And what kind of work do you do? You don't have to say where you work, but what field is it?
The field of work that I was in, because I'm no longer working. I'm on.
Okay. Well, you don't even have to tell them. Was it a job that was satisfying you and that you loved?
I was a driver, truck driver.
Okay. And you're unemployed for how long?
It's been 3 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that obviously contributes to the depression. For men, I mean, you obviously maybe have had depression issues before, but for men, our jobs are so much a part of our identity and who we are and what we see ourselves as men, the ability to provide. And when we're not working, we feel fairly worthless. We look around like we are just these fucking dead branches on this tree.
I agree. Well,
are you trying to get another job?
I am in no position at this point. I'm actually looking to fight Mr. Elliot Spitzer on a law that passed back in March because I'm not in a position to be able to work any longer or do the work that I was able to do.
Why is that?
It's called being a dislocated worker.
What does that mean, dislocated worker?
It means that the field of work that I was in, because of the lack of education that I do have, which is just a high school diploma.
Okay.
I do not have any actual interior office skills, so I don't have the ability. I could probably go back to school, but by the time I go back to school, I would be very close to retirement. And as you know, probably the older you get, the harder the jobs are to come by.
Sure. They're all looking for young guys with, fucking piss and vinegar in their eyes and college degree. Yeah, I understand. But this depression you're suffering from, are you able to drive a truck anymore?
Well, with the conditions that I do have, it irritates the problems that I do have.
Well, what are the conditions you have? I mean, we don't know each other. You're anonymous.
Yeah, I know. I have problems with my back and neck and other issues with my arms.
So they're physical issues that make your old form of employment very difficult to duplicate.
That's very correct.
So, again, without knowing you, what you have to do, you going to bed and not wanting to wake up, and believe me, I understand that feeling, and I felt that way too, but that's no way to live. Like, you're not just this fucking replaceable thing. You're not just some fucking forgettable spoke. And I really mean that. You have a life that's still ahead of you. And it's easy for me to say, and it's try it and it's corny. But why would you allow yourself to go out like this? Like, you should fight for getting your life back to where you want it. You're not unfuckable. I don't even know what you look like. Everybody can find somebody. You're not unemployable.
I've been in scenarios and I've been engaged before, but I've never come to the point where I felt like I was actually going to get married, only because the people that I was with were pieces of shit.
Okay. Were you behaving like a piece of shit?
No.
So why did you settle for people who were pieces of shit?
If anything, you don't know somebody within the first 2 years of going out with them. It usually takes longer than 2 years to find out who these people usually are. So,
you know what?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, like, you said that you don't know who they are, but I don't know, man. Like, a lot of times abused girls marry abusive men when they get older. We seek out certain things because we have radar. I think that we understand much more than we admit to ourselves that we understand about people when we date them, which is why the children of alcoholics date and marry alcoholics. I didn't know you was an alcoholic. Of course you did. The personality, you smelled it, you saw it, you felt it. So what happens is we seek out people to serve certain purposes for us. And I don't believe it takes 2 years at all. I think a lot of times we know enough. We know certain things. We pick up certain things very, very quickly. And I mean, look, I'm sure, dude, in cases, there's like Ted Bundy's girlfriend, I'm sure, didn't know he was fucking raping and murdering 12-year-olds. But I think sometimes we have to examine, why do I seek out the type of person I've been seeking out? Like, what are they doing for me, these miserable fucks? Why are they the ones I'm looking for? Why am I not seeking out people that are going to make me happy? So, do you go to therapy at all?
I've been in therapy, but as I was saying, the exact reason is not just the girls or the issues that I've dealt with. It's everything that's around me that puts me into the position where I'd rather not wake up and have to deal with society, because more than half of them are fucked up.
You're right. But like I said before, somebody asked about life on life's terms. This is exactly what we're talking about.
I agree. Everything
around me. Look, the Serenity Prayer, you don't even have to look at it religiously, but it's, granting the serenity to accept, the fucking courage to change the things I can, the wisdom, accept things I cannot change, courage to change things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Like, there's things that I can't change. And those are the things I have to accept, and the things that you can change, you change. Like, the Serenity Prayer is one of the greatest, believe me, I don't practice it nearly as much as I should. And take out God if you want. If you're an atheist, fuck it, who cares? But it's
I am atheist.
Oh, okay.
Well, I brought up strict Christian, but I'm at the atheist now because of all that priestdom bullshit.
Okay, fair enough. Whatever your reasons are. But wouldn't you like the ability, just as a person, to accept the things you can't change, and the courage to change the things you can't, that you can, and the ability and wisdom to know the difference? I mean, without the God part, that's still such a fucking beautiful and simple way to look at things. What's outside of you, what's happening, you have no fucking control over. You have no control. So to allow it to dictate your happiness is crazy. It's literally like being fucking obsessed with the Lakers or the Mets, and I allow my happiness to be dictated on how many points fucking Kobe scores. You have no control over that. So change the things you can.
I'd like to be able to do things that are, would be considered at this point, against the law to these people that are around me.
But you can't do that, dude. That's crazy.
No, and I realize that. But honestly, I refrain from socializing just because most of the people that I do interact with, are terrible. I mean, they have terrible places, and they're not great people.
But you have that's the beauty of being an adult. We have choices as to who we hang with and who we interact with. And we have to realize that sometimes we associate people who are shitty because there's shitty things going on inside of ourselves, and that's what we think we deserve, and that's what we attract. So if I change myself and change the things I can, a lot of times I attract different people in my life. And it sounds corny and fucking 12-step, but it really is true. Like, I have good friends, man. I'm not the greatest guy in the world, and I have to let you go because I have to do a read, but I appreciate...
I thank you. Jimmy, I thank you, and I appreciate you letting me, you taking my call, and you have a good day, man.
You too, buddy. And keep waking up, dude. I understand the depression, but please try to work on it and fix it. Don't kill yourself. I'm not saying you're going to, but it's just such a fucking sad and sickening way for things to end. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Even if your problem has been going on for a long time. The depression does not define who you are, and there is a way to live with it and to live productively with it. Change the things you can inside yourself, and you will attract a better group of people. Like, I have really good people in my life, and it's, you know what, because I'm a loyal guy. I'm not perfect, and I'm not never shitty, and I know you guys on the air have me be negative. But you know what? Like, I really do care about my friends, and I really do try to be there for my friends. And I really do love my friends, and I'm positive, and I work, believe it or not. Like, there's a part of me that you don't see on the air that's actually fairly positive and healthy. And so I attract people like that. Like, for as much as, you think that Open Ant and myself and Colin and all these comedians are negative shitheads, we are people who, despite being dysfunctional asses, which all of us are, have found a way to do what we love in spite of all the obstacles we put in front of ourselves. So if I could do that, and Anthony and Opie can do that, and Colin and fucking, all these, Bobby Kelly, you can do it too. So that's why we attract people like ourselves, because we're doing things that are positive for ourselves. And forgive me if that's fucking too, out there and fucking, it sounds like something here on WBLS, be positive and positivity will come to you. I'm going to take another caller, so I'll do the quick live read. Not to get it out of the way, because I hate always ending on a live read, so I want to end on a call. Are you sick of going through customer service ringer to find that Sirius XM radio or part you need? TSS Radio and their Chicago-based staff can help. And this is important to a lot of our listeners because we hear complaints all the time. TSS Radio and their Chicago-based staff specializes in selling parts, boom boxes, antennas, power cords, receivers, and more for satellite radio subscribers. They carry excellent exclusive products like satellite radio motorcycle kits. And now this, I see I've started to do that in the middle of the fucking read, my stupid dry mouth. This is the perfect time to buy. It's during their 5th annual garage sale with incredible deals on radios, power adapters, boomboxes, and antennas. Also have kits from refurbished XMP3 portable to the new Sirius StarMate 8S to $5 car antennas or replacement radios. TSS Radio has everything you need at the lowest prices of the year. We do get a lot of complaints about people about their equipment, shit they're not happy with. So check out TSS Radio because it might save you guys a lot of heartache, and we don't want to lose you as subscribers. Take advantage now and discover why people come to TSS Radio for their Sirius XM needs. For their 5th annual garage sale, it ends Friday, June the 7th. So be sure to reach out or call now. So go to tssradio.com. This is who words this copy? So be sure to reach out or call now, period. Go to tssradio.com or call 312-846-6606. That's tssradio.com. Or call them at 312-846-6606. And we really appreciate these guys being a part of the show because we have a lot of subscribers who bitch and moan about the equipment. So before you give up on us, try these guys because they have refurbished stuff that could work very well for you. And let's talk to Patrick in New Orleans because what you did is a fear of mine, my friend. Welcome, Patrick. Thank you for calling.
Jimmy, how you doing?
I'm okay, buddy. Tell us what happened. We only have 2 minutes, so we're not rushing you, but we have to go.
That was a horrible read. Thanks for taking my call.
I know, man. I did the best I can, brother, but thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know what to do.
You blew 17 years sober.
Yeah.
When did you blow it?
Last night.
This is you. Wow. So you blew it last night. How did you blow it?
I drank.
Okay, you drank. Had you been going to meetings? Because they say, a drink is the end of a slip. It's not the beginning of a slip. It's the end of a slip. We set ourselves up for a slip before, and the drink is the final step in slipping. So what was happening?
No, right. The crux in this matter, I guess, is that my sponsor is a lifelong friend.
Okay.
30 years. And, man, I don't know what to do, man.
Are you able to still call your sponsor?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And let me tell you, Jimmy, my wife and I, we listen to you all the time. We dig you. I'm really freaked out right now. Yeah, and, maybe this is good radio, but let me tell you, man, I don't know what to do.
You know what, Patrick? Here's what happened. And not that there's good news, but you honestly do know what to do because you picked up the phone. Okay, you fucked up. And I know, like, as alcoholics and people in recovery, we get caught up in the time. I got 20 years. I got 15 years. But there was something that was missed.
17 fucking years gone.
But it's not gone. Patrick, you didn't lose. You're still alive. Those 17 years are not lost. You've changed a date. Okay, and I know it's ego deflating, and it's hard.
Big time. Big time.
But you do know, no matter how far down the scale we've gone, we see how our experience can benefit others. This is something that is going to help other people. Because it was the last call, and it's why I looked at it. Because I'm sober for a while, and I'm not above blowing sobriety. You're going to help other people with this if you come back. It's not a wasted 17 years, Patrick. You didn't drunk drive and kill somebody. You're not going to jail.
Right.
If you want to really think of what could have happened last night, your first drink after 17 years could have been you plowing into a fucking car. It wasn't.
Right.
So you're alive, and you're going to change the date, and I know it hurts, and I know it's painful.
It does, man. It hurts a lot.
But you picked up the phone. You got to call your sponsor. You got to go. You know what kind of a meeting you got to go to, and you have to find what you missed the last time.
Fuck, man. You know, Jimmy, thanks for taking my call, man.
It's okay, and call in and keep us abreast of your or keep us posted on your progress.
We saw you at the cellar last year. We go every year to Brazil, and we fly through New York. We love you, man.
Thank you, Patrick. And again, we have to run, but honestly, dude, I know you're hurting.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Call your sponsor. That's my strongest suggestion of the day. You already picked up the phone to call here. Call your sponsor. You made a mistake, but you're fucking alive to help somebody else with it. You're here to tell about it, okay?
Yep. Well, thank you, Jimmy.
All right, be good, and good luck to you, brother. And thank you for calling. I appreciate your call a lot, okay? Thank you very much for everybody who called, and my apologies to Ronnie and Fez for going a couple of minutes over, but I thought that was a really important one. And listen, we will see you guys tomorrow, and thanks to everybody who called in today.